So welcome guys, welcome to my first ever market review video. You don't want to miss this one because I'll be giving away some real good information. I promise you will enjoy it, you will like it, you will see that precision is there. It's nothing that you have probably seen before unless you have been trading and actually analyzing these markets. Otherwise, there's not a chance that you have seen this before. Trust me, I've tried a lot of things in trading. And it took me years to understand how to come up with my own way of trading, with my own way of trading crypto, my own way of trading gold, silver, whatever it may be. So let's begin. I want you to straight away just look at this, okay? So this is a 3 month. So one candle represents 3 months, okay? And I want you to take note, this is Dow Jones currently, okay? It's one of my favorite pairs to trade. In fact, it's the only pair I day trade. So I absolutely love this pair. It just clicks with me, it works with me. It's by far the best for me. So I want you to take note at one of my main concepts I use, okay? And that is a fair value gap. And what a fair value gap is simply just an inefficiency, okay? So I want you to take note at this candle, and this candle. So fair value gap is a 3-candle formation, okay? And between this and this, there's a gap. And that gap was formed by this middle candle, okay? So if you take note, I'm gonna draw a rectangle. So see, there's a gap there. Now, these gaps are important because the market tends to go back into them, rebalance them, and then go higher. Unless the sentiment is changing, or whatever it may be, if the market wants to go lower, there will be signs in the way the bodies close that the market is going to go lower, okay? But as of now, just know that on the 3 months, we have this gap here, and it's important, okay? And I will explain why. So if you take note, a new 3-month candle just began to form. You see that? So what I expect to happen is for the Dow to initially go lower, go into this area here, to then go higher. But all of it is going to depend how it's going to close in terms of its body here, how the bodies on the lower time frame are going to close, such as the monthly and the weekly, but no lower than that, okay? So having that in mind, just keep that in mind. Keep in mind that the high of this gap is right there, okay? It's right there, you see that? That's the high of it, and that's the low of it, right there. In fact, I'm just gonna draw it. So now that's the monthly chart, okay? So remember the high of that 3 months. So remember that's the high. If I go into the monthly chart, that's the high of that 3 monthly, okay? So you see this, you see what we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So currently we have, so if the market was to just go down into it, it's gonna take out 4 months of liquidity, including the current month's liquidity. People that are longing, investing, not understanding what they're doing, okay? So this is very important. So watch this now. So if the market comes back into it, into this gap, what is it gonna do? Well, it's going to rebalance this gap, first of all. Then the second thing it's gonna do, it's gonna take these relative equal lows on the monthly time frame. It's going to take this low out. So what it's going to do? So it's going to give fuel to the market then to potentially continue going higher and pushing higher. Okay? So let's go into the weekly chart. What do we have on the weekly chart? Well, here is where it gets more complicated, okay? So it's all easy until it's not. Because if you take note, we also have gaps here on the weekly, okay? These gaps, they don't have to be rebalanced. Like the market doesn't have to go back into them straight away. And usually it doesn't. It depends what time frame you look at. They work different on different time frames. But just to avoid confusion, focus on the main thing I'm telling you right now as to what the Dow is more than likely going to do. As we know, these indexes are predisposed to go higher, okay? Unless the economy is absolutely breaking and we have a recession and whatnot, that's when you can expect for it to go lower, okay? Or it's gonna be aggressive, okay? And I'll be ready for it. And I promise, if I see something like this, if I see something economically that the market is really reacting badly to, I will update you guys, I promise, okay? So let's go into the daily, okay? So daily, so one candle represents 1 day, okay? So, as some of you might know, today is NFP, also known as non-farm payroll, okay? So usually it's a big range day, okay? So what am I expecting? What is my analysis for the day? What are my predictions? I want to go into the 4-hour and show you something, okay? Now you see this gap here, okay? Between this candle, and this candle, we have a gap. Why is this gap important? Well, this gap is important because if you take note, look at this, look at these highs. They're relatively equal highs, okay? You see that? How they're equal. So what the market tends to do, the market tends to go into it, potentially wick out of it. It can even wick up to here. It doesn't matter. What matters is how the body will close, okay? The bodies tell you the story, okay? What's going on. So because I said that I initially expect for the Dow to go lower into this area and then lower to only then reverse and go higher, depending how it's going to close here on the weekly time frame. So what am I expecting for NFP to happen is 2 things. First of all, the market can just easily just wick crazy for 200 pips, whatever. And then once the New York session opens, just start aggressively reversing lower, okay? And if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're looking for, if you see these things happening before, it's much easier, okay, to see it happen. Now, looking at the weekly candle, okay? Now, what also could happen is that we just simply push much higher today, okay? We just have like a recovery day, okay, of an NFP. It just pushes into this gap here, okay? Takes buy side liquidity for the past 2 weeks, well, 3 with the current week, okay? Rebalances this inefficiency, and then it goes lower to the monthly target. Because currently where Dow is, it's a lot more likely to go into these lows, into this area, before going higher, because market needs liquidity. Think of liquidity as fuel for the car, okay? So the car needs fuel to go, okay? Well, it's the same in these markets. They're designed in that way because it's a net sum zero game at the end of the day, okay? For traders to trick those that are in these markets. The market needs to get rid of people, fake people, trick people. And what's the best way of doing that? Well, by doing exactly that, by coming up higher to then just only go lower, to make people think of one thing, but then another thing happens. I see this happen over and over and over again, okay? And now currently where Dow is, there's no reason to expect that this market is going to reverse and go higher, because for the reasons I outlined, that I see this 3-month gap here that I want for the market to initially go into, to then start reversing and go higher, okay? If you take notes where the market is, it's a lot more likely that it's going to just push into it and then reverse and go higher, okay? For this market, that's nothing. That's not a lot. But it's gonna take, like, if you take note to this gap, it's 4% to the downside. That's nothing, okay? It can be easily done and it will more than likely be done. It's just the question is how it's going to be done, okay? Well, I'm telling you, well, today I'm expecting the Dow Jones to run higher. Anywhere here, see how the body is closed, okay? It can even wick out of it. And what's a wick? That's a wick right there, you see that? It can wick out of it and then get back in and then reverse and go lower for the reasons I already outlined, okay? So I day trade this pair. This is my favorite pair by far. I absolutely love Dow Jones, and I probably will never change my pair ever again. It's just that good. So yeah, that's for Dow Jones. So let's move on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Don't you love a bit of Bitcoin? I fucking love Bitcoin. Tell you that much. Now, once again, I want to bring your attention to, once again, to these gaps right there. Okay, just have a look at it, okay? I'm gonna draw a rectangle once again for you to see if you don't see, okay? Now, as you can see, the market initially pumped up January, so last year, the start of last year, so this time last year, okay? It pumped up initially. Now, once the market pumps up, you don't want to get too excited, okay? You don't want to do that. You have to wait. These markets work in cycles, okay? And after a push-up, what you have is you have these inefficiencies created that I've been talking about to you, okay? And why these inefficiencies are important is because the market will initially range. It will make people think it's doing something, but in fact, it won't be, okay? Because these markets work on emotion, on sentiment, of how people are feeling, things of that nature, okay? So, as you can see, we have a leg lower, and then we have like a recovery, okay? Where people are excited again that Bitcoin is gonna go higher. See that? It's 30%. That's a lot. It's enough to get people excited. That's what I mean. It works on emotion, okay? These charts, these markets, they work on emotion. And then look what happens. Another 30% down, lower. Okay? And I'm watching this because I'm bullish. I know that Bitcoin will go higher, okay? I'm just waiting to see how these people are going to be played, okay? And of course, I have this gap here that I trust because I've been trading now for years, and trust me, I know what to look for. I know what I like, and I know what works. And I can tell you for sure that channels, even supply and demand, they're just not consistent as you like them to be, okay? Whereas this, I'm telling you guys, this is consistent. So watch what happens. So the market takes this low, people are already scared, and then the market pushes up, making everyone think that, oh yeah, it's time to go, it's time to go. But we have one more dump. Look what this dump does, okay? So it takes out this low. But look at the body of this, okay? So it goes down into it, reaches another inefficiency, if you take note, okay? And rejects. And look how it rejects. Look where the body closes. That's a very strong rejection, okay? I could explain this more, but I'm not going to go too much into detail right now. I'm just gonna give you the basics, okay? The basic concept of a fair value gap. A fair value gap is just an inefficiency, like I said. It's just a 3-candle formation where you have a gap between the 3 candles that signifies either strength or weakness, okay? And they are important, I promise. So I'm always watching these markets, okay? So as I'm watching this, I just keep watching it. Like I don't care. I don't need to put money into Bitcoin or whatever to survive, okay? Because I trade fully. Trading is where my income comes from, and it doesn't bother me when I get a chance to invest or swing trade. But when I see a chance, I make sure I use it, okay? And talking about a chance, take a look at this. I remember this like yesterday. See this gap there? This is weekly time frame, by the way. So 1 candle is 1 week, okay? So I want you to take note. 1, 2, 3, and you see we have a gap. This is super important because we're after going into this gap, taking liquidity twice in a row, okay? Meaning we're fully rebalanced this, and we're after taking liquidity there. And now look, we have this gap here. As soon as I saw this gap, I started watching Bitcoin very, very closely because I knew that something big potentially is coming. I also knew that the US elections are coming. So what I did, I just watched. I didn't rush. And then this week right here, I was like, okay, I want to see how this week is going to behave. So this week, as you can see, the open, the high, the low, and the close. So it's just slightly bearish candle, okay? And it just went into this inefficiency and instantly rejected, okay? Look where the body closed. You see these bodies here? You see how they're respecting, like, perfectly. Near enough perfectly, okay? I respected the gap. And this is when I started buying Bitcoin. I went to my broker, I levered up on Bitcoin, and I was just buying Bitcoin all the way to 80, 90,000. Okay? Also, what really helped me was Donald Trump getting elected. But I don't think it would have made the difference whether it was going to be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, because it was just all excitement anyways. That's what the market chose. That's the narrative that the market chose. Perhaps it wouldn't have been as extended, okay? Well, okay, this type of guessing is not needed, but the fact that Donald Trump on the 5th of November got officially elected, obviously. So this did help me a lot, because as you can see, once those elections were over, we were just pumping higher, pumping higher, pumping higher. And look, I was happy with it. I took my profits and I did not touch Bitcoin since, okay? I did not touch it. Because once again, we are doing the same thing as we were doing here. So why would I go and rush into it? You know, even if it does go away without me, I don't care. You know, it's not part of my plan. It's not what I it's not what I care about, okay? What I care about is the same phenomena repeating over and over again. Now, if you take a look at so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So okay, 8 weeks, okay? 2 months. You see all of these relative equal lows, okay? They're just so smooth, so even, okay? Now, what makes you think that this is just gonna now continue going higher? Because a lot of people are probably just buying their Bitcoin right now, just loading up on Bitcoin, just thinking. Also, one really important thing I want to talk about is narrative, okay? Sentiment. And the current sentiment in the market for retail traders is that they're all extremely still excited after, you know, this big move up. And they're all buzzing for it. They think it's just gonna go to the moon. And yeah, it might go to the moon. And it probably will. I mean, look at Bitcoin. It's already at the height of it, it was already, you know, nearly 110,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. But what they're all forgetting is that the market works on the same principles. Remember, what the market needs before it goes higher? Well, it needs liquidity because it's a net sum zero game. So from where we are, I expect a retracement, okay? I expect Bitcoin to run all these guys, go lower. Now, I'll be watching this, okay? I'll be watching how the bodies close. I'll be watching what the signatures are. And I promise you, once I see signatures that this area has been respected and I expect higher prices again, I will let you know when I'm buying Bitcoin, okay? I will let you know when I'm doing that. But at the moment, I'm staying away from Bitcoin. I'm not touching it, okay? Not touching it. You have to have patience and you have to know what you're doing. And I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm doing, okay? I'm not in Bitcoin. I'm not in Ethereum. I'm not in crypto at all at the moment, okay? Apart from some meme coins, but I mean, meme coins, I'm definitely not gonna do a video on that. Meme coins, just forget it. Forget it. So that's Bitcoin, okay? So the current narrative is that it's going to the moon. Everyone is buy. All the retail traders are buying. You know, God knows what they're doing. Some of them are probably just leveraged up to max, you know, and they're just gonna be upset once there's a retracement. So I hope you're not levered up on Bitcoin. I hope you're careful. And yeah, sure, it might just go up higher. But as I said, I don't care, and it's not how I look at the markets. I always look at the markets in terms of how they work, what they need, and what they look for, okay? So unless I see the signatures of what the market needs in order to go higher, I will let you know, okay? So Ethereum, just beautiful. I absolutely loved Ethereum before Christmas. It really made my Christmas. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a clear target in my mind when it came to Ethereum. Just before Christmas. Yeah, so this high here was the 9th of December, 2nd of December, and 16th of December. Excuse me. Now, what I want to talk about is Ethereum, okay? Now, look at the date, okay? The 5th of November, right there, you see that? At the same time as I saw Bitcoin being bullish, same thing with Ethereum. It's just that Ethereum, to me, it just wasn't as clear, okay? It wasn't. It wasn't as obvious. I didn't know what Ethereum wanted to do, but of course, think about it. Once Bitcoin goes up, what is Ethereum going to do? It's going to follow. It's kind of like gold and silver, okay? Gold goes higher and silver follows. So it's the same principle. So once I started seeing that Ethereum is just pushing higher along with Bitcoin, I straight away look at my targets, okay? And I ask myself, what could this market be reaching for? Okay, simple question, nice and easy, nothing complicated at all. Okay, so there's an area here, there's an area here, and there's an area here. Okay, what are they? Well, they're like resistance areas, okay? But not just resistance. You have to understand that there's people in these markets that are always buying and always selling. And they're trying to do this from all areas. There's always bears and there's always bulls, okay? It's just how it is. It's just the nature of it, okay? It's just how the market works. It's just how people are also. And this is what makes this game so great, okay? So okay, so we were here, okay? So I'm watching this. I'm watching this gap, okay? Now, once again, what is this gap? This gap right here is fair value gap. It's an inefficiency, okay? Now, I don't know if this market is going to go into this gap, or it's going to go into this gap, or this gap, or this gap. But I do know that these markets, once they go, okay? And you just simply try to combine from the higher time frame to the lower time frame, and you're trying to see how it's going to behave, okay? How the bodies are closing. Like, look at here. See the bodies? You see this inefficiency I just drew? Look at the middle, okay? Look at the middle. You see how the bodies are just respecting the middle. They're not even coming anywhere past it, okay? So this is a very important signature. It really signifies strength, okay? Now, take note. Look how technical these markets are, okay? So, it goes into it and stays here for a few days, respects this inefficiency perfectly, and look, instant reaction higher, okay? And then look at this. See this low? Now, look at this low right there. The market comes into it, taps this low, comes into this inefficiency, and instantly pushes higher. And, you know, once you're here, you have to ask yourself, what is this market reaching for? Well, what do you think it's reaching for? It's reaching for these areas. Why is it reaching for these areas? Because I told you there's liquidity there to be taken, okay? And this was the perfect time to do so because Bitcoin was going higher. It was just going much at an absolutely crazy rate higher, okay? So you see this gap? So the market comes into it, takes this low. Why did the market take this low? Why? It took this low because there's liquidity there. The markets always take liquidity before going higher, okay, or lower, whichever case it may be, it doesn't matter. So it takes that liquidity, and does this look to you random? Just a quick question. Does this look to you random? That before this move higher, taking all these targets, all these liquidity areas, does this look random to you that it went and it took that low here? Is this random? Can this just be random? Absolutely not. There's no way that something like this is random, but I'm not gonna go into detail as to, you know, why I think that, etc., etc. I'm just going to say that this is all just done in advance, okay? It's all just programmed in advance, okay? Just put it that way. And look what happens. It just goes and reaches what? Target number 1, target number 2, target number 3. Okay. So, same things again. And as this happening, I'm literally trading Ethereum. I'm just putting on these trades and I'm just leaving them on for a few days because I know that my targets are about to be hit. I'm gonna go to these guys, I'm gonna knock on their door, and I'm gonna take their money, okay? That's what I'm doing over here, okay? So, look at this again. Once again, goes higher. What happens here? Another gap. You see that? Another gap. Study these gaps, okay? I'm not gonna give away my full strategy. I'm not gonna give away my everything I have. But study these, okay? Study what I'm giving to you. Look at the precision. Do channels come close? Do your supply and demand areas come close? Come on. There's just nothing comes close as understanding how the market works, what it needs to go to certain places, etc., etc. So take note of this. Do you see it? Do I still need to explain it? Okay, I'm going to explain it in case you don't see it again. So we have a gap there. What happens? It pretends to go higher. It takes this buy side liquidity here, okay? Gets people FOMO in. FOMO is fear of missing out, okay? So those that really, really want to know, I'm gonna miss another move because Bitcoin just closed higher. You see that? And then look what happens. Boom. Where does it go? Where on this day, the 3rd of December, where does Ethereum go? It goes into this gap here. You see these lows? It takes liquidity once more. You see that? It takes liquidity once more. And once it takes that liquidity, guess what the target is next? Well, surprise, surprise. They have a target here, have a target here. Okay? So if you know what you're looking for, if you know what to do, you're making money. But see, I don't just simply invest blindly. I don't just leave it there. Just let it go. Just forget about it. Just set and forget. No, I don't do that. Okay? I don't, for these assets anyways, okay? So once this is hanging around here, I don't demand it to go and take this, okay? I just take my profits here because I'm not greedy. I know that this market will more than likely reach and go higher. I actually expected it to just continue going higher because of how bullish Bitcoin was. And no, I'm not gonna pretend like I saw this rejection and I sold this and I sold this. No, I did not do that, okay? Because I know that the sentiment was very bullish, okay? It was just very, very bullish. I was afraid of doing any selling. But right now, currently as we are, okay? What the sentiment is on crypto, okay? So on crypto, as I said, the sentiment still for the retail traders is that we're just gonna push higher, push higher, push higher. And people are just loading up. They're just loading up, okay? They can't wait to just, this thing to just go to the moon. And it will go. Like Ethereum, this is coming. This right here is coming, okay? I'm telling you right now in advance that this is coming. It will happen. Ethereum will go past this high. It's just a matter of time. But before Ethereum is going to do that, what else is going to happen? Let's start off with the monthly chart, okay? So one candle represents 1 month, okay? So let's just remove the drawings, okay? Once again, do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see that between this candle's low, sorry, this candle's high, this candle's low, there's a gap there, okay? And this gap was created by this bullish move up here, by this middle candle, okay? Which started just before the elections, okay? So what I'm expecting right now, you see this double top? I'm not buying it, okay? I'm not buying this double top. What I expect Ethereum to do, okay, just like Bitcoin, is to go lower into this gap, okay? Depending how the bodies are gonna close, I'll be monitoring this closely, okay? And I will do a video like this again, and if I see bullish signatures that it's time to buy, I will tell you that I'm buying, I promise, okay? So I'm expecting on the monthly for Ethereum to go lower, okay? Because the sentiment right now is very bullish. Everyone wants to buy, 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 buy. Donald Trump got elected, pro crypto, pro this, pro that, blah, 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 okay? And everyone is just loading up, loading up, okay? Just too early, okay? But those that are not over leveraged, they're fine. They'll be fine. But you don't even know how many people are over leveraging, okay? In fact, I use leverage myself. So, or I know what I'm doing. That's the main difference, okay? So I expect for this monthly candle to come lower, take these two lows, which is what? Liquidity, okay? To then see how this monthly candle is going to behave in this inefficiency, in this gap. To then only see if it wants to start pushing higher. Because once it's going to come here, and if it respects this area, trust me, Ethereum is going to all-time highs. And when this is happening, I will be telling you, okay? And this is when you can go and lever up on Ethereum and just buy. Okay? But even then, you have to know how to buy, okay? You have to know how to go into lower time frame, such as the weekly, such as the daily, sometimes lower, and figure it out, okay? So on the weekly, where does the gap start on the weekly? Okay, well, the gap on the weekly starts right here. There's the low of the gap, sorry, the high of the gap, there's the low of the gap. So that's the high of the gap, that's the low of the gap, okay? So that makes a fair value gap. Now, what do you see here? Now, don't mind this, okay? Because this is already taken, okay? So this already took this, and this, okay? All of these are liquidity areas, okay? And they exist on all time frames, okay? So what do I expect to happen? I expect Ethereum to come into here, past this low, or these lows, to then respect this area and come higher and go all the way to all-time highs and look at the opportunity that's out here, okay? You see that? Should I say more? I told you, I showed you how these things repeat themselves. So just watch, okay? Just watch this channel, and I will keep you updated as to what I'm doing, when I'm doing, things of that nature in these market reviews, okay? And if your attention span is too short to watch these videos, you have a TikTok mentality, okay? Then please don't follow, please never follow this channel, because you're not the audience I want or need, okay? So that's that. So let's have a look at gold, okay? Now, gold has a completely different sentiment to what Bitcoin has, okay? As it stands currently. And the reason that is the case is because, take a look, what happened once the elections began, once they were over, okay? What happened? Gold actually dumped lower. It took this opportunity to take some people out, okay? But trust me, gold is not going anywhere. Gold is going only one direction, and that is higher. We're gonna see higher gold prices, and I'm real confident about this, okay? I'm really confident about this. So now I will show you the technicals, but we can start on the monthly, okay? Now, once again, you see a gap there. You see how bullish gold has been. You see these gaps? They were never even, gold never even came back to these gaps, okay? What does that mean? It means that this is an extremely bullish market currently as it stands, okay? Gold, honestly, if you're invested in gold, silver, I believe you're doing the right thing, because I honestly see gold and silver going real high up. I'm also really bullish on crypto as well, okay? Just because I am. Okay, put it that way. So take a look at the monthly. Once again, we have the same gap here. See that? We have a gap there again between this candle, this candle, this candle. I instantly see, my eye instantly goes to it. It's just experience. I've been seeing these things happen just for so long. It's just, I instantly know what I'm looking for, okay? So on the monthly, you see that gap. Look at the bodies. Comes into it. Body is staying above this inefficiency, okay? The bodies are staying above. This is extremely bullish for gold. I have no idea how much higher gold is gonna go, but for certain, it's going to go past this high. So if you have money right now, go and invest into gold, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just talking as if I was talking to myself, okay? So, I will for sure be loading up on more gold, more silver, that's for sure, okay? Especially because the sentiment is also different compared to crypto right now. That's why I would not go into crypto just yet, but I will absolutely go into gold, silver more, okay? Absolutely. These metals, yo, trust me, you can make some real nice money with just slightly bit of leverage here, okay? I'm giving you hints, but yeah, it's not a financial advice. I'm giving you hints as to what I would do, but it's not a financial advice. Okay. So, you want to see the same things happening again? I'll show you the same things happening again, okay? So initial gap, never came back into it, just rejects lower, okay? Where did it reject? I already showed you. Into that monthly fair value gap, okay? So, comes into it, respects the midpoint perfectly, and what does it do here? So, what's this? Liquidity. What's this? Inefficiency, okay? So it takes liquidity, takes inefficiency, and instantly reacts higher, okay? Instantly. Then retraces, gets people excited, okay? Goes higher, gets people even more excited, okay? What happens then? See this low? See all these lows? It goes and takes them out. Now, why would it do that? Well, it does that for liquidity purposes. And what did I tell you liquidity is? Well, liquidity is like fuel to the car, okay? So liquidity is fuel to the market, okay? So once it takes this liquidity, comes into this inefficiency, what happens? Starts going higher, okay? So at first, I wasn't sure if this was going to go higher, okay? I still was like kind of, not 100%, but I like what it did there, because it's after setting itself up for new all-time highs, at least, okay? in this extremely bullish market. So while gold is here, while silver is where it is, don't tell me I didn't tell you so, okay? So I'm just saying. So there's no point in going into any lower time frames than this. There really isn't. It's just I'm gonna make it too complicated and whatnot. So I'm just gonna keep it to here. And honestly, that's enough. If you're looking for swing trading, if you're looking for investing, that's enough. That's my bias for you right now, currently as it stands. And I'm just gonna go into silver, okay? Silver. Okay. Now, this is interesting. Okay, it's more messy. It's not as clear as gold is, okay? But trust me, what gold is going to do, silver is going to follow, okay? It will absolutely follow, okay? So let's just go on the weekly, okay? Now, instantly my eye goes to this gap right here. And the reason my eye goes here is because you see all these lows, how they get stacked up in one place. This is exactly why my eye goes instantly to this gap here, because I know that market is going to use this gap as support, okay? So it's going to come into it, take all these lows to then only reverse and go higher, okay? Yeah, you could be saying, well, we have a gap here, okay? And yeah, we do. We have a gap here, okay? This gap is SIBI, okay? Sorry. I'll write it out. SIBI, okay? As ICT teaches himself, Michael Huddleston. That's where I learned all these things from. I'm only teaching you only one concept from his, library of concepts. But there you have it. So SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, okay? So this is a SIBI right here. And what's a BISI then, okay? So BISI is the opposite of SIBI, okay? So BISI. So buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Means that it gives imbalance up to the buy side, but it doesn't give balance to sell side, okay? So it gives imbalance to one side and it doesn't give that balance to the other side, okay? This is important, okay? To me it's common knowledge, it's like, but I'm sure to you that you have never came across anything like this. Well, as you can see, the precision is there and you can't deny it. This is why I'm so confident in what I'm doing and what I'm speaking, because I know what I'm doing, okay? It's really that simple. I have seen the precision repeats over and over and over again. I don't need any more proof, and I don't care what anyone says. I don't think what anyone thinks about me, about my concepts, about the way I look at the market, because this is it. I'm telling you, this is it. Go, if you want, go and try channels. Go try rectangles, whatever you want. I don't care. Animal pattern, whatever you want. Try whatever you want. Nothing will come close to this, what I'm showing you here, okay? So, yes, we have a SIBI here, okay? We have a fair value gap here to the downside, okay? But think, why was this formed in the first place, okay? Why? Why was it formed there? Well, it was formed there because it needed pace, it needed acceleration to get below these lows, okay? Real quick, okay? It needed to do that, okay? And that's why this gap was formed, okay? Once again, look at the bodies. You see how the bodies are just, once they got here, they're just very, very shy. They're not aggressive anymore. You see the volume on them? They're just quiet candles, okay? Quiet candles. So, this is important, okay? Now, if I was to look at this chart, just at silver alone, I wouldn't know as to whether the market is going to go lower or going to go higher, okay? But because there's market correlations that you look at, so if one market is less clear to you, you go to the other, and you try to understand and see which one makes more sense, and not just technically, okay, but fundamentally, and in terms of the narrative, in terms of the sentiment. And you only really get good at reading the sentiment, fundamentals, etc. if you actually study them, if you study the charts. It takes time. Hence, this is why I'm doing these type of videos for you guys, because I want you to learn. I want you to see the possibility that is out there in trading. It's nothing that we have ever seen before. I'm telling you right now, this is a golden opportunity to learn how to do this and make some extra money, because inflation is getting out of control, okay? If you haven't noticed that, and I don't know where you're living, okay? You must be living somewhere in Africa or somewhere where there's just no civilization around. But in Europe, in America, I know for a fact that we are drowning in inflation. Our money is getting devalued heavily every single year, okay? So it's very important that you know how to protect your money, okay? Because money is just like a car, okay? You buy a car, it's nice and new, and then 1 year goes by, you keep using it and whatnot, and the price just keeps depreciating. Just like your money in the bank does, okay? So you have to watch videos like this to learn how to put your money to use, okay? Otherwise, go back to TikTok, okay? So, I just told you my bias on US30, Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, silver, okay? These are 5 main markets, okay? So US30 is the pair that I trade, okay? It's my baby. I absolutely cannot wait for the NFP release today, because it's going to be fire, okay? It's going to be fire, I know it. Usually NFP days are the days where I make most of my money, a lot of money, in terms of how much I make per day. NFP can be one of those days where you make a lot of money. You just have to know how to trade it, okay? Don't trade before the news release, okay? You're absolutely gambling if you're doing that. I'm telling you right now. If you put a trade before NFP release, you're a gambler. I don't care what you think, okay? Unless you're a swing trader, you have been in the trade days before or whatnot, then I understand, okay? But yeah, that sums it up here for the day. I'm happy enough with this video. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you learned something, okay? I hope I showed you some precision that is out here in the markets, okay? The possibilities that you have. And yeah, I just really want you to understand my perspective, my look on the markets, things of that nature. So I'm gonna end it here, and I'm gonna wish you a very nice, happy Friday. Have a nice weekend, guys.